I got everything will be, yeah, I mean.
on the trail on October 19th for the 5K and the fun run. We're going to be lots of children. We're anticipating about 250 people, and it's going to be chaos.
Yeah, we can,
So we need the road closed,
Yeah,
but
we
we
can-
make sure nobody gets hurt.
we-
Because
we-
there'll be little kids and fights and
Yeah,
all
we-
kinds of stuff going on, so we appreciate that. So related to the comp plan stuff, we, as the chamber and have been involved in the comp plan stuff and attending the planning commission meetings for well over a year now, in making sure that economic development opportunities are considered and encouraged and supported. And I would just say that I appreciate the council's desire to emphasize Highway 410. We've talked about it a number of times. I've talked with all of you individually multiple times about the importance that Highway 410 is the revenue generator that makes the rest of the city work. And the downtown is great and wonderful, and we support that and we encourage the downtown. But the real money is going to be made on Highway 410. And so we support that. I would also just point out, though, not to be a negative note, but to remind everyone that we need to be realistic about our goals on 410. If you look at that property, take a drive down the 12, take a drive down Highway 410, and be careful if you pull over. There are a lot of properties that have challenges related to potential, I emphasize the word potential, wet areas. It is not the easiest property to develop, and so we want to develop it. We want to support it on behalf of HR Nuremberg, who happens to be hospital construction. I will just say that we want the commercial on 410 to be developed, but we're going to need some help. It is not going to be easily developed. A car dealership is going to need, well, I'll give you an example. Last week we got a call from our commercial agent, and he said Tractor Supply is looking for a place. I would love to site Tractor Supply. They need 4 acres. I don't have it. There isn't anywhere on Highway 410 right now where to pick up. We've looked at several parcels as possibilities. They're either not big enough or they're left. So we need to work together to make sure that those things can be accomplished. We are more than happy to work with the city, and we will continue to provide input at the planning commission and with the council related to the economic development portion of the comp plan update as well as the land use. I would say that I think that Highway 410 is the place where we need to try to make some emphasis, along with what we can do with downtown to make sure that abatements and empty buildings and code violations get taken care of. And I think we'll get there. I'm excited about that. We're all very excited about that at the chamber, but we would really like to see, we're going to need some help related to what can be done. The incentives that Courtney suggested tonight, I think we're dead on. When it comes to a grocery store, she and I have that conversation about a grocery store. They told us flat out. I think the best example that you can think of if you would look at what we want for Buckley is the one at the end of Shaw Road, the brand new Safeway complex that went in last year or the year before. That is an 8-acre site. The property, usually you have to give the grocery store the property in order to be able to come. And that's
okay.
And then in order to do that, I'm sorry, I'll just finish, I'm sorry. Then you get all those ancillary things that make the revenue and generate the stuff and the things for here. There are a couple pieces of property here that we think could be developed as a grocery store, but we're gonna need some help. And we will bring information on those types of projects as appropriate and submit and pre-us as appropriate in the future. But that's where we're at. But that is a good example of what we could have if we work together.
Okay. Thanks, Carolyn. Yep. Public comment time. Would you like to speak? No, okay, just checking. All right, anybody else? Okay, we'll come back. We'll have another public comment section at the end. Planning commission. What do we have? What is it? Planning commission.
Was there a meeting? I worked out of town on Monday, so I wasn't around.
No, it was the last meeting that we had. Did we already do an update?
We already did the update.
No additional meeting.
Okay,
Strike that.
okay. Admin, finance and public safety.
Oh, apologize. I don't have a typed out version of this. I need to go see Mr. Frazier down at the fire station. My city laptop is not acting right. We met yesterday. Finance, part of it, what we talked about was the 2023 year-end financial report that is on tonight's agenda, so nothing more to report on that. LTAC, which is the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. We're having a meeting coming up to consider all of the 2024 fund requests that have come in. Pursuant to that LTAC going into effect, again, when we passed the 5,000 resident threshold, we had to implement the LTAC. So that's coming up. Police personnel update. We new officer who was an exceptional lateral, meaning less than 2 years on from Auburn PD. Came from Auburn PD here, so he's known as an exceptional lateral. He started on the 27th. He replaced Officer Johnson, who resigned in March. He's in his second week of field training, working with Officer Van Hoof. Officer Huntley signed off yesterday, last shift. He's gone to Bonnie Lake. So the chief, Alfano, is evaluating entry level and lateral lists to look for candidates to process to, if it's a lateral, they don't have to go to the academy. If it's a entry level, they have to go to the academy, and hoping to have another new officer identified by mid to late summer. Recently, some of the laws that were changed down in Olympia, restricting law enforcement's ability to pursue and other items have been reversed via legislation, and they went back into effect on the 6th of June, like a week ago or almost a week ago. And then illegally parked cars, there's been an emphasis to clean up the streets and right of ways from illegally parked vehicles and junk vehicles. Just like land use and whatnot, the goal is to work with residents and put warning stickers on and cite. And if there's non-compliance, there's other steps that are taken to address that. Fire departments, they currently have 2 offers for the full-time positions that we approved. They're in the process, going through that to fill those additional 2 full-time fire spots. They're in the process of creating a lieutenant's training program, as well as putting in a strategic plan for their EMS program. And then we've talked here at council about, and we've heard from Chief Scogan about the ambulance services currently with AMR, and AMR came in with an exorbitant amount of money that they wanted for that. So there's going to be an RFP going out, RFP meaning a request for proposal for ambulance services. There's other ambulance services available. It's going out on the 8th of July and it's due back on the 12th of August. Buckingham Municipal Court, they're getting putting in for interpreter reimbursement from the state. Anytime you have to process a criminal case, somebody doesn't speak English is not their first language, we have to provide a interpreter. State has to reimburse that, so that's in the process. And then the infamous Blake decision. Again, the Blake decision was a Washington State Supreme Court decision that basically decriminalized possession of narcotics. It was that case where the defendant said that it wasn't her pants and somebody bought it, and that's is what it is. That's what's going on right now. And what the Blake decision says, that any fees they paid, so if somebody went through Buckingham Municipal Court and was assessed by the judge a $250 fine, they're entitled to that money back. And the court's been processing that. And so all of the low hanging fruit, from what I've the way I understand it, has been taken care of. And so now some of the things that they're processing is more complex things that have different nuances in it. So that's what the court's doing. And what is gonna happen coming up, an additional meeting of admin, finance and public safety is looking at some administrative policies for the city that are gonna be cleaned up and come forth to full council. Again, sorry, I don't have notes in front of you, but that's what I would have typed. And I will get that problem fixed.
Thanks, Ron. On to Parks and Community Services, Councilmember Green.
No report out. The meeting's been postponed, I think, to next week.
Okay, all right. And all famous council member comments and go to the order.
I'll just thank Buckley Fire for coming out to Wilkinson's Field Day today. It was really fun. The kids got to spray the hose and like myself, some of the firefighters got in the dunk tank, which was a hit. So yes, some of them tried to throw the ball to get me in too, but they missed. So but yeah,
Good.
thank you to Buckley
Yeah.
Fire to coming.
Super. Ron.
I will give the same shout out to Buckley Fire. Last Friday, they showed up at Glacier Middle School during 6th grade lunch, and they went through 8th grade. And yes, did kids get a chance to operate the hose? And about 50% of them went back to their next period soaking wet. But what I told Assistant Chief Olson, I says, do not think for 1 second that this is not, you're laying the groundwork for future 18-year-olds to become a volunteer firefighter when you show up, and by allowing them, standing behind them, showing them how to operate the hose while getting their classmates wet. But it was outstanding. And some of the new recruit academy folks were there, and they do what they do, interact with the kids. So again, I know they're busy, but when they come out to the schools, it means a lot to the kids.
Very cool. Connie, did you have something? Okay. Anybody on this side? No? Okay. All right, consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Thank you, council. All right, into regular business, new business.
All right, so we have resolution number 24-03, approval of Luke's Landing Lake number 3.
Move to approve resolution number 24-03, latecomers agreement for Luke's Landing offsite sewer.
Second. Okay. And Dom's here for questions and comments. Oh.
Quick comment, one on the agenda cover, there was a cost impact that says $26,000 from Fund 102. That's not correct. There's not a cost impact to the city. So we have the public hearing on this, and then this is now just a formal adoption that allows the agreement to be recorded. So nothing changed from the hearing until now.
Okay. All right, perfect. Any questions for Dom while he's here? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, any discussion of any kind, questions, comments, all that good stuff? No? Okay. Nope, all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed. Staff reports, we have Director Hines.
Council and mayors. Yes, we have the packet was included with the 2023 year-end financial report. So as you can see, 23 ended up being a positive year, but more moderate than what we have seen in 22. Things started to kind of plateau of being out of COVID. Saw that with our sales tax revenue in the general fund. Despite everyone saying home and ordering with this commission-based sales tax, that still helped us, but we've kind of plateaued off. Didn't quite even make budget for the general fund. And we had talked about that last fall when we were doing the 24 budgets. We didn't expect a large increase in this year either. So it was a positive year overall. On a citywide basis, the city was budgeted for revenue of just over 18.3 million, and we brought in about 17.8, so a little over 500,000 short. Most of that is related to timing of grants on capital projects. And so some of those we'll see coming in this year, the capital projects get completed and ready to apply for the grants, then that revenue that was budgeted last year will show up this year. Time of the time. So I included in the packets notes on specific funds that were either under or over. There were a few funds where they were under budget on revenue due to us shifting interest revenue over to the general fund. And the shift of the contract allocations for the public safety out of the few funds over to the general fund. Our capital fund was well below Article 7. That was due to the CHAMP project, the City Hall project, not moving forward, so the utilities portion wasn't transferred last year. As far as expenditures, but citywide, we were budgeted at 24.6 million and came in at 19.4, so about 5.2 million under budget citywide. Again, most of that is related to capital projects just not happening yet. City Hall obviously being the big one in that 307 fund, but also some utility funds, large scale and storm, and in the street funds. So otherwise, just another small in the general fund. But total budget revenue was about 6.5 million and actual revenue for 0.6. So you're at 100.9% of revenue. So did come in just a tad over 56,000 over in budgeted revenue. Mostly related to, again, moving over some interest revenue. So it was one time here, but interest revenue from the other non-restricted funds to the general fund. We did receive a few other grants. So that was good as well. There was, if you'll notice, that was on exhibit C and the general fund. Just wanted to point out one thing for the line called non-revenue, but it was not budgeted, but it has almost 38,000 in it. That was just due to an accounting change from the state auditors. Latecomers agreements have been budgeted and received in 23. And what we call the custodial fund, the revenue isn't for the city, it's to collect from those people looking up to those utilities and then passing them on to the developer that put in the project initially. So we had budgeted and accounted for all of those late commercial agreements in the custodial fund. But as I went through and did the year-end filing to the state, had to back and forth with SAO and they determined that somehow doesn't qualify under fiduciary, custodial, so they were required to be in. So I had to move all those transactions, but at that point, obviously, it's too late to make a budget adjustment. So we'll make a budget adjustment for this year in 24 coming up to again move those out of the custodial fund to the general fund. The city does collect a small administrative piece on that, which is always going to go to the general fund, but for the most part, the majority of that revenue is just collected and then passed on to the. So that is what that odd line looks like for that, but that was a good ending to the general fund. We were short on planning and building. It was a little bit of a dip last year in 23. We had really high building. Last year took a dip and building. There are seeing quite a few things in the pipeline though coming in through this year that will definitely play out towards the end of this year and next year. From an expenditure standpoint for the general fund, 7.3 million budgeted and about just shy of 7.2 actual expenditures. So we're about 160,000 under budget across the general fund. Again, put some notes in on specific departments that might have been over or under. Our IT fund, we're still working on realigning the shifting of all of the software contracts. Planning had quite a bit of staff vacancies, so that one again under. Our finance department, it came in over budget. That was all related to the audit. So we've been estimating on that stuff. 2019 to the 2021 audit was going to cost. That took a lot longer than originally planned. That did make the finance department or over budget. Sorry. But overall, the whole gen fund as a whole, which is what we're held to be under, we are under by 160,000, 97. So overall, that was good. When we look at fund balance for general fund, we had estimated using the estimates for revenue and expenditures at the end of 23, as we developed the 24 budget, we had estimated about $1,059,000 in beginning fund balance for 24. And we came in shy of that by about 123,000, so right around 963,000. So even though we came in under budget and we came in just a tad bit over in revenue, the beginning fund balance for 24 was all based on estimates for this year. So some departments were under budget and some were over, but on estimates compared to the estimates, several were over. So it would be something that we're working on to be a little more accurate, a little more conservative. We'd rather kind of estimate that we will spend in a year and then not, than to be too conservative or not conservative enough on our estimates and then go over. So we are starting 2024 a little short on fund balance, but again, some of that wasn't happening in 24. So happy to answer any questions that come.
Any questions, comments? Well, thank you for preparing. It's a lot of work to prepare just this document alone. So,
Thank you.
yep,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. And any other staff? No? Okay,
Talked to them tonight.
okay. All right, public comments open for another round. Anybody like to speak for up to 3 minutes, please?
See you too.
So I was in coma, and had the new tropical breathing pretty deal, so all these trying to see council members out about. Anyway, just wanted to touch base a little bit about the Foothills Trail. As you know, the Spike Bridge suffered a slow, but we had a quick demise on Friday. I was out there and it took the demolition company all but 30 minutes to collapse the bridge. So it definitely have some rock in it. They had it all down, like you say, within about 30-40 minutes. And then they cleaned it all up Friday and Saturday. So we have the biologists down there monitoring everything. Sure, none of the nothing got into the creek, and everything survived. So that is part of it's been done, and that was done under an emergency order. Amazing how to get things done with an emergency order. We are now in the process of looking at how we can put a temporary bridge in. That bridge to be fully replaced. I would say it's going to take a few years. So we're looking at a temporary bridge. The unfortunate thing with the Foothills Trail is all the bridges other than the truffle that were put in by the original railroad are all wooden bridges. And they look great, but they're not going to last. This bridge, the Spikeman Bridge last is about 14 years. So we had no idea that that much dry rot is taking place, but we do monitor those bridges every 2 years. And the public works found that there was some problems with that. So the Sky Bridge will be evaluated next. I would assume that we'll be looking as far as Pierce County and replacing all of the structure at some point in time. But the Foothills Coalition chair has been very involved in the communication, making sure everything is communicated through their website as far as the do not pass now on the Spikeman bridge area. One of the things that we're trying to look at is we do believe in October the White River Bridge will be opened up. is been delayed due to some offsite work that is needed to be done. So we were trying to figure out, okay, if they can move that back, then maybe we can get a temporary release in. So we're working on that, as quick as we can. The other project that we just got in was a foothill trail sign project. We looked at doing the signage from Buckley all the way to Puyallup. Doing a lot of the signs, a lot of it's been haphazard. It's been done over the last 30 years. So, I put in a budget request to do it. Parks Department came back with a sign study, and we have to have right now about 88 signs of different types, but the cost is $1.1 billion. So, but that includes monument signs, that includes good identification signs. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing when you're looking at $13,000 per sign cost. We're still gonna look at it, we'll probably do it in phases, starting with Buckley and working our way down the trail. So we'll get more information on that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got, unless you have questions.
I hope the new signage would be not wood, as we've learned, maybe aluminum, something, who knows?
Correct. If you looked at the new trail project down in Puyallup Crossing Farm 12, they have the new monument sign put up there. So if you're ever driving around, take a look at that. So that'll be the signage we'll use on the major trailheads, like the one we will have.
Yeah.
So it'll be substantial.
Okay, super. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right.
I should have put this in at the, when we were supposed to make comments. I forgot. Courtney, how did you find about the fireworks for Enumclaw and,
Some
Aren't
have
they-
banned them. We do have a certain amount of lag time before we can put a ban in place. So I'm gonna assemble some different codes to bring forward some different options for how we
we
move
can't just
forward.
put in an emergency ban for this year, so everything doesn't go poof?
Let me look into it and see if we
Okay.
could do an emergency. Typically, so we have both sales as well as fireworks.
Mhm.
We could put an emphasis on additional patrol if you would like. I've heard, though I've not witnessed it, that sometimes we have a lot of fireworks, for example, going off in the park spaces. So we could put some additional emphasis from our team to make sure that that
Well,
doesn't happen this year.
It's because believe it or not, the ground is dry.
Yeah,
And I'm looking at my neighbor's property who's got trees, and most of those are dead, a good
Mhm.
portion of them.
Yeah.
So, and we can't really do, did you happen to look up, what Pierce County, the deal they did on the soil and why they say they banned it?
yes, because of the dry conditions,
Correct.
absolutely.
I
So
mean, we've
if it
had a lot of
goes,
rain, but there's still.
yeah, if it goes up,
Doing enough.
then it's banned right now.
Right.
And I believe Bonnie Lake and Enumclaw have,
Because we
had
can't
the
put a
similar-
ban on, a permanent ban on for this year, but can we do
An
an
emergency.
emergency ban? Because at some point, we're gonna have to look at a permanent ban because of all the housing that's going up,
Mhm.
and they're so close together.
Mhm.
But we just need something for this year to make safety purposes.
Understood. I will look into that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Thank you, council.
Yep.